Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. Defamation lawsuit to be filed against Deputy Speaker of the House, Huey Clark. Bus driver dead, several injured following crash in St. Elizabeth. And later in sports, controversy looms as JFF names Copa America squad. Thank you for joining us. I'm Shane Masters and here are the details. The driver of a public passenger vehicle died from injuries received in a crash on the Fonthill Main Road in St. Elizabeth this morning. He has been identified as Junior Ramsey of a Fort William District, Westmoreland address. At least 13 passengers were injured. One is said to be seriously hurt. Head of the St. Elizabeth Division, Superintendent Coleridge Mento, says the crash occurred about 4 o'clock and involved a Toyota Hiace bus.
This motor vehicle was on its way traveling in an easterly direction from Savlamar heading towards the direction of Black River. This is along the Fonthill Main Road. It is reported that the driver lost control of the vehicle, which resulted in it overturning several times. As a result of the crash, one person has confirmed that he has died, that's the driver of the vehicle. Several other persons were injured and were taken to the Black River Hospital, where they are now undergoing treatment. At least one other passenger, female passenger in the vehicle, is reported to be seriously injured and is now undergoing surgery.
The cause of the crash is under investigation. Passengers reportedly told the police that the driver was attempting to answer his cell phone when he lost control of the vehicle. Superintendent Minter is imploring motorists to exercise caution on the Fonthill Main Road as there have been a number of serious crashes. An appeal this afternoon for men who are victims of domestic violence to report it. Speaking to residents at a town hall meeting in Plowden, Manchester earlier this week, members of the JCF's Community Safety and Security Branch said men should not be shy to report the acts due to societal pressures.
Because if you're a man in your house and you get beaten, listen, the society creates this norm that it is very difficult for you to speak out. But with trained personnel, such as myself and Detective Stuart Lewis, we are there to accommodate you. Instead of this getting physical and lives being lost, we are there to accommodate you.
For years, Manchester has been grappling with domestic-related violence, placing it at the top of the list of parishes with the highest number of domestic violence-related murders. However, Corporal Oriel Plummer says the parish now stands at number 5 in that regard. Head of the Manchester Police, DSP Kerry Duncan, is urging farmers to organize themselves into small groups to better protect themselves, their crops and livestock from thieves. Speaking at a town hall meeting in Plowden, Manchester this week, he noted that the police are working at strengthening the prey larceny unit in the parish so they can prosecute more thieves who continue to prey on farmers. However, he says farmers can do more to increase their own security by forming small groups depending on whether they farm livestock or crops.
When you have these things also, your network, when you see the strange cars and the strange trucks in the area, call us, we want to respond, right? So it might not necessarily be cattle thieves, you know. It might not be cattle thieves. It might be some persons coming in the space because they add to your zero numbers that you're experiencing and you're having. And we don't want that.
At least 13 persons have been charged and convicted of farm theft in Manchester since the start of this year. A legal showdown is unfolding. This as opposition leader Mark Golding is pressing ahead with legal action against the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Huey Clark. Karen Simpson has the details.
Despite giving the Deputy Speaker of the House of Parliament until Monday to apologize for defamatory comments made in a WhatsApp group, Mr. Clark has not done so. It is why almost 72 hours after the deadline for the apology to be issued, opposition leader and PNP President Mark Golding has called on his attorneys from Hart Murid Fata to proceed with filing a defamation suit against Mr. Clark. It's reported that on June 6, Mr. Clark, in a WhatsApp group called CC Business Network, published defamatory statements against Mr. Golding. It further noted that the statements by Mr. Clark have disparaged Mr. Golding in his character and have severely injured and damaged him in his credit and business and brought him into public scandal. In the meantime, Deputy General Secretary for the PNP, Nikisha Burchell, says Prime Minister Andrew Holness should ensure that his party members uphold good principles in public discourse and representation.
He has stated that his administration is prepared to face head-on those who spread lies and misinformation. We're calling on him to address the falsehoods and misconduct within his own party first.
Carrie Simpson, TVJ News.
Despite a reduction in violence in Steertown, St. Ann, the police continue to maintain its presence in the area. Head of the St. Ann Police Division, Senior Superintendent Dwight Powell, is hopeful that the strategies implemented to reduce acts of criminality in the space will continue to bear fruit. Speaking to journalists yesterday following a walkthrough of the community, SSP Powell noted that there were 4 murders last year compared to previous years. He's hoping this will be sustained.
Last year, we saw the entire Steertown, for the first time, recording only 4 murders. 4 murders is bad enough, but it is a sign of encouragement. So 4 murders and 4 shooting incidents. So since the start of this year, we have only recorded just 1 shooting incident in the community, which I hope that would not have happened. But just to say that we have managed to bring the perpetrator in that incident to justice, so he will be facing the court. And we are appealing to those who are bent on creating mayhem in the community to resist the urge.
Steertown is one of the crime hotspots within the parish of St. Ann. Still in St. Ann, tension is brewing between vendors at the St. Ann's Bay Market and the Municipal Corporation over the changes made recently. The vendors claim they are being treated unfairly, but the Municipal Corporation says order must be restored. Anthony Lugg visited the area and filed this report.
Frustration pouring over at the St. Ann's Bay Market this week.
Look on the state of the market when I'm to you will notice fix up the market one fix me willing to go in about the market fix up.
It's a rainy day here in St. Ann's Bay, and as you can see behind me, the road is clear. But on a typical day, vendors would have lined the streets, but the Municipal Corporation recently told the vendors they have to go inside the market.
Vending is a major problem in St. Ann, Brownstown, St. Ann's Bay, Orchards. And one of the things that we're trying to do now is to see how is it that we can do a pushback into the markets. When you go into the markets, you can play football in there. You know, everybody wants to be in your face. Everybody wants to be not only at the sidewalk, they want to be in the road.
The vendors insist they have no problem going inside the market, but they say it's in need of dire repairs.
This market is the worst market in Jamaica, and when I'm saying it, it's no bias, no evil, no bad mind, but it's the truth from heaven.
And right now the market is at deplorable condition. The market is leaking, roads, everything.
We are human beings, we no animal. As long as they fix the market, can't hold we come in our market.
It's not the first time vendors and the Municipal Corporation have been at odds over the state of the market. Sources at the Municipal Corporation told us whenever there's a cleanup, there's pushback from the vendors.
That is a big lie. That is a big lie. And they must be honest to the trust where God give them. They must talk truth. We are big people, we must talk truth.
When them send down the anti-mirage on Friday morning, then nobody if you talk to them will come and say if you go in our market at time in your wet up because it flooded out last week, in your wet up and chaka.
While the vendors voiced those complaints, some pedestrians are relieved.
It was well needed. I work with it.
You work with it, you love it?
Yes, it's a good look.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness recently indicated that a plan is currently being developed to urbanize rural towns. Under the program, markets are expected to be upgraded. Meanwhile, Chairman of the St. Anne Municipal Corporation, Michael Belnavis, is urging vendors to exercise patience as the remedial work is done.
We're working with the individuals, the vendors and so on, because we don't believe in dislocation, but we're doing a pushback so they can now get back into the market so people can come park in the market and then come and do the shopping.
Anthony Lug, TVJ News.
And it's time for a break here on the Midday News, but stay with us, more stories when we return. Welcome back to the Midday News. After 2 decades of having its monthly meetings and nights, the Portmore Municipal Corporation held its first daytime meeting yesterday. However, despite notices being sent out to the various agencies about the change in the time, Mayor Leon Thomas was disappointed that representatives of only 3 showed up.
I am very disappointed about the turnout today, that they are not here. Because with the hurricane season, we are expecting that the various agencies will turn up at the meeting so that we can have plans put in place for the hurricane season. So we are going to write to them again to inform them about the changes, which we have done so before, twice to inform them about it. So we are going to do it again.
In the meantime, councillors have expressed joy in the time change for the meetings.
I am happy that we are now having a day meeting, which will now, of course, afford us more participants to our day meeting. I must also mention that the staff of the Portmore City Municipality would have been here from 9 in the morning to 9 in the night. So this is also a good move as it relates to their welfare as well.
As when it comes down to the night meeting, sometimes it goes up until 11 o'clock or even after 11 sometime at night. And you can see that a lot of the councillors during the night meeting, they are drained and the brain is not functioning well.
And it's now time for the Business Minute.
The Statistical Institute of Jamaica Statin says local spending on raw materials and intermediate goods fell by 9.9% in January. These imports cost the country $159 million compared to the $176.6 million spent in January 2023. Statin says all subcategories except parts and accessories of capital goods, excluding transport equipment, declined. Further afield, the World Bank is projecting global growth of an average 2.6% this year. According to its Global Economic Prospects report released this week, the projection is 0.2% above the forecast made in January. The GDP outlook is also below the 3.1% average growth in the decade before COVID-19. The bank says the forecast implies that over the course of 2024 to 2026, countries that collectively account for more than 80% of the world's population and global GDP would still be growing more slowly than they did in the decade before COVID-19. Overall, developing economies are projected to grow by an average 4% over 2024 to 2025, slightly lower than in 2023. Growth in low-income economies is expected to accelerate to 5% in 2024 from 3.8% in 2023. And that's it for the Business Minute. I'm Carrie-Ann Simpson.
Time now for the top regional and international stories.
In the region, Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, is raising concerns over the challenges being experienced in procuring rice from Guyana. Dr. Gonsalves has held talks with Guyana President Dr. Irfan Ali to address the matter. He says the current supply disruptions include breakdowns and missed shipments and the loss caused by a bug infestation. Against that background, he is stressing the importance of vigilance during the critical period from October to Christmas to avoid potential shortages. On the international scene, Italy's Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni has welcomed the leaders of the world's 7 richest nations at the G7 summit in Italy. The summit opened Thursday with an agreement reached on a U.S. proposal to back a $50 billion loan to Ukraine using frozen Russian assets as collateral, giving Kiev a strong show of support even as Europe's political chessboard shifts to the right. The G7 summit will also involve leaders from Africa and the Indo-Pacific region and will discuss economic cooperation with developing countries. And a huge fire has broken out at an oil refinery in Erbil in northern Iraq. A video shows plumes of smoke billowing into the air as the fire engulfs a warehouse building. Around a dozen firefighters are at the scene trying to control the blaze, which is thought to have started in the refinery's liquid asphalt warehouse. No casualties have been reported. However, local media report a number of people were injured. And those were the top regional and international stories. I'm Hal Shane Burke.
Thanks, Hal Shane. We head to a quick break. When we come back, Spencer Darlington will have your midday sports report.